One drink almost killed me. That is not an exaggeration. I've had drink problems all my life, on and off. I stopped a couple of times, and eventually in 2006, I went to the doctor and said I need some help. I need some diazepam again. I'm going to make a really good go of this and not relapse. So I got the course of diazepam, 7 days, and I was off the drink. I stayed off the drink and kept myself really fit for 8 years until 2014. Now I was going to the gym every day, even when I was on holiday. I was traveling around Europe, having a great time. Not a serious relationship with anybody or anything. Just doing my own thing. I thought that's the best way to have no stress, keep sober, keep healthy. My relationships with my daughter and my family were very strong then. Our finances were good. Bought a new sports car, living the dream in a way because I'd retired reasonably early. So we'll go to 2014 now. Feeling great. I was persuaded over a number of weeks to have just try one. I knew that it may be the start of something bad again, but I wasn't quite sure. I thought, well, 8 years, surely I must be fit and strong enough to take one drink and show people really that I wasn't an alcoholic, because there's still a stigma about alcoholism. And if you don't drink, people want to know why. But when you're sober confident like I am now, you just say, look, I don't drink, I don't want to, end of story. But I wasn't like that then. 2014, 8 years off, feeling amazing. Best shape I've ever been in my life. Because I was eating very healthy, all this sort of thing. So I just had one can. As I poured the lager into the glass, I thought, well, am I going to risk this? And I was frightened to drink it. But to show the people around me that I could still drink, I thought, well, I'll try half a pint of it and just sipped away at it. I thought, I don't really like this particularly, but I'll go with the flow. I'm not going to throw 8 years sobriety away for one can of beer, half a can of beer. That got over. Next weekend, I was out and was prepared again to try another drink. I thought, well, come on, half a beer won't be a problem. Then I had a couple of halves of beer. I thought, well, maybe I'll knock it on the head. And then we travelled down to the south of France in a motorhome. Very stressful journey. Didn't have any drinks at all on the way down. Got to Saint-Tropez after days on the road. It seemed these camper vans aren't easy to drive, you know, they're a nightmare. So I thought, I'm going to stay here. We'll stay here for a few days, a few weeks even. And I thought, well, you know, 8 years off in the sunshine, I'll have a couple of drinks. And when I was away, I had a couple more, and so it built up a little bit. And after about week 3, I was feeling really groggy, like I had done previously when I'd been drinking, years before that. So I was nipping down to the camp shop and necking a bottle of beer at 9 o'clock in the morning when I was getting the bread and milk. And then I was still feeling slightly unwell, so I'd be sneaking off another little half here, half there. And so it built up. And after 6 months of seemingly innocuous drinking now and again, I was back to square one, where I had been years before, drinking every single day. So I approached the doctor at that point And he said, basically, no, you're not having diazepam again. You'll be addicted to it. I said, well, I've only had it a couple of times in the past. And the last time I had it was 8 years ago. No, policy's changed. You won't be able to get the medication. So I trotted away in disbelief, rang up for another appointment with a different doctor. Can I have this diazepam, please? I knew the diazepam was the only thing that would get me off, because in the past I've had seizures when I just stopped. I couldn't taper off because that just never worked. The only thing that ever worked for me was this diazepam. No, she said, can't get that. There's 2 doctors now. So I'm desperate because I know I'm going to get in a mess. So I started to self-medicate, really. The person I was with at the time, they disappeared. So I'm left on my own in my apartment. I sold my car and it just got worse and worse. So for 5 years, really, I self-medicated with alcohol. So 2015 got over. I was still drinking reasonably heavily, but I could still get about. And over time, it got worse and worse and worse. I started to lose weight. I wasn't focusing on things. I felt unwell. But I still got these well-man tests, and nothing was showing up in the blood test. Over time went on, 2017, looking a bit more ill, feeling ill, just going from my flat to the pub in the taxi, getting beer delivered, all this carry on. Got worse and worse. 2018 comes along, and then 2019, when the real problems occurred. July 2019 was my father, who passed away sadly. It was his birthday on the 17th of July 2019. I managed to get there. My daughter picked me up. She knew I'd been drinking, and did that. And I was drinking Peroni, and people knew I had a major drinking problem by then, so I'd lost so much weight and I looked very unhealthy. Got the birthday over. Still was going to the pub. August, September, looking more and more frail. I had this distended stomach. It's ascites fluid. I found out later, because the liver can't process the fluid. And then one of the guys in the pub said, "You look terrible." So I took a long, hard look at myself in the mirror. I thought, Jesus, you grey I was. I was unshaven, completely gone, really. I couldn't even walk properly. I didn't realise I was in such a state, but I looked back, the flat was a mess. All I was doing was getting up midday, having a glass of beer, a glass of cider or something, just pulling myself around, try and get a shower now and again, which was rare, and then get to the pub again. I had about 40 slabs of beer in the cupboard, so I was so anxious and so frightened that I would run out. The anxiety was at a critical point, really. I couldn't deal with anything, couldn't deal with any problems. Could hardly manage to open the post. I wasn't eating at all then, really. Just picking little bits of the odd pizza. Maybe I'd try some soup now and again. That's an incredible amount of weight. And this guy said, "I think you need to get to hospital." I had this huge stomach. I had a hernia in my stomach as well, umbilical hernia. So he said, over the period of 2 or 3 weeks, he said, "Well, look, if you don't get yourself to hospital, I'll take you." So I'm not having that embarrassment. Anyway, on the Wednesday morning, I had a couple more cans of beer, and I thought, I'm going to have to get to hospital. I rang 999, which may sound a bit over the top, but they got here and said, "You are really ill. You're going to have to go to hospital now." That was October 2019. I was admitted to the acute medical ward, and told 2 or 3 days later that I had liver issues and alcohol problems and ascites, and also spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, which can be fatal. So they drained all this fluid off, 26 litres I think it was. Bear in mind, 26 litres weighs 26 kilogram of excess fluid. And that became a regular thing, the ascites fluid. By about the January, I've had seizures in hospital as well. I was in hospital from October to middle of November. By about the January, it was full-blown COVID then. I was in and out of different hospitals. I'd had low sodium level. I'd been in intensive care. My chances of survival in October apparently had been 50-50. Managed to get rid of all this spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, which was good. I still had this accumulation of fluid. They did a couple of little procedures, try and get rid of that. Still didn't work. Another year into it, I still had this massive stomach and a huge umbilical hernia. And I had to stay with my elderly parents at that point. I couldn't look after myself. I was in a wheelchair most of the time. Couldn't walk from the door to the ambulance without assistance. I was going every week or so to get, every 2 weeks to get this fluid drained off. Anyway, this umbilical hernia split and I started to bleed heavily. Ambulance turned up again. They put 2 blast bandages on me. I nearly bled to death. Got taken to resus. They managed to do something there and stitch me up. Would you believe? This is all in the middle of COVID. The hospitals were at full pelt then. When I'd gone to resus, the surgeon had his kit already and he said, if this doesn't work, there's not much more we can do. Because if you get this ascites fluid leaking out of your umbilical hernia, then that can be fatal. Because it gets infected, you see, and it can just crash the organs. Fortunately for me, I must have had an angel on my shoulder. They managed to stop that. And then about a week later, I had an emergency operation to fix this hernia. It was about a 4-hour operation. I couldn't actually believe it when I woke up and I'd come round. I just thought this is the end of it. Because there was 2 anaesthetists took me in for that umbilical hernia repair. So I've got no belly button really, so it's just a complete scar across the middle of my stomach. And then still feeling terrible. Started to eat a little bit more. My doctor said, push yourself just on, get out of the house a little bit. I still felt really dizzy. So I thought, well, I'll stand at the front door, get some fresh air. And I went to the dustbin and I walked 10 yards and 20 yards. And then on the 14th of July, 2021, my father passed away. I was terribly underway. I thought I'd not even going to make the funeral. I was so ill. But something inside me just pushed me along. And I got myself some more food and I managed to get the funeral with the assistance of my wonderful daughter and her partner. Got that over with and I thought, I've got to fight on here. I've got to really fight on. I wasn't going to lose my life to this. So I got myself on a very strict diet. I'm a reasonable cook, so I was starting to cook chicken, fish, rice, vegetables, eating a lot of salad, a lot of fruit and all that sort of thing. Eventually got myself a little bit better and I got back in my own flat 2.5 years ago, and from then on I've just gone from strength to strength. But let me tell you this, it was one hell of a battle. I've been in a few battles myself with the job I used to do in London, but this was incredibly difficult. And after 5 years to the month now, it's still incredibly difficult. But I've got a wonderful partner who's very, very supportive as well. And I'm here to help you if you want help. But I'm telling you now, one drink for me will kill me. And it'll kill anybody else who's dependent, because if you have a look on the comments of some of the videos, there's a lot of people out there who relapse. And they relapse often. Now, when I was in the hospital, I said to the surgeon, the head surgeon of the hospital, it's a big hospital, the Freeman Hospital in Newcastle, I said, you know this 8-year period when I had no drinking, I was fit, going to the gym and all that, did that help me? He just went, no. The damage was done when you were young. The damage was done when you were young. So you've got to stop as soon as possible, okay? Because I was in the illusion I was drinking lager and it would be fine. Never touched spirits or wine, anything like that. The damage was done when I was young. I was drinking heavily, you see. And I was drinking, not too much heavily really, but more steadily every day. I had some alcohol in my system. And that's what does the damage. It's long-term, regular use. Even if you stop for the 8-year period, it's not going to change anything really. It might help the other organs. I mean, I've got friends who've got pancreatitis and all sorts. I take lots of medication. I don't take any medication. I go to the gym every day from here, even on holiday or when we're away. And that saved my life. Exercise and food. And that's what will bring you around. If you are benefiting from the videos, please subscribe. And if you have any comments, drop me a line. And I'll see you all very soon. Keep sober.